Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Late Night Talk, Ep.4. Okay, so, obviously, we made Late Night Talk Episode 3 last night, and of course, if you haven't seen it, then go check it out. I will leave the link in the description to that video. But, of course, tonight it's basically, another day, another day to talk about certain things. So, obviously there's still contract, negotiations and stuff that need to be handled, as far as, pertaining to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Now, it sounds like, the Joneses are starting on Dak's contract already. They're starting on his first. But, I mean, the way I look at it, it's two different situations. I know you want to get your quarterback's contract taken care of first before your wide receiver, but I look at this as two different circumstances. Dak is not as worried and concerned about getting his money, and he's not so worried about getting his money in a hurry, but CeeDee Lamb is. That's the reason why he's been holding out. So I look at it as you start on CeeDee Lamb's contract first, and then maybe along the line, be able to get to Dak's contract as well. But I just feel like, the way the situation is and the circumstances between the two players is just very different, and I think that it's best to get CeeDee Lamb's contract started first and then get to Dak's. But, I'm not, paid to make those decisions. I'm just, saying, voicing my opinion on what I believe needs to be done. But the fact of the matter is, we know they absolutely need to be paid. And when you're talking about probably the best duo, all right, in the NFL right now, how crazy is that? That the best duo in the league in both the NFL and NBA turns out to both be in Dallas. All right. But either way, yeah, I'm talking about the NFL best duo in the league, which is Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. When you talk about a quarterback like Dak Prescott and the fact that he led the league in touchdown passes with 36, and he was second in the league in passer rating with the 105.9, and he was definitely in the top 5 in passing yardage with over 4,500. And then add that to the secondary part of the duo, which is the receiver, CeeDee Lamb, who had over 1,700 yards, and he caught 135 passes, 12 touchdowns. I mean, he was amazing. He was unbelievable, man. I mean, there were literally stretches where defenses literally could not guard him. Like, literally, it was impossible. But nonetheless, it's just, very, like odd to me, the way we're going about this as far as trying to get Dax done first. But maybe other people will, understand it because they just feel like it just seems more, natural and makes more sense to take care of the quarterback's contract than the receivers. But I think it's just under the circumstances that can be the case. But not in this situation. One player does want to get his money as soon as possible. Another one is not as concerned and just, wants everything to break right. That's all he wants, But, the fact of the matter is you got two very humble guys who they're not really what you would call dogs. Like they're not beating their chest, saying that, we're the best in the freaking league, we're the best in the world. Like they're not saying that. They're very humble, very quiet superstars, you know, and to some people's eyes, including Cam Newton's eyes, he feels like that's a bad thing. A while back, he Cam Newton made a comment talking about that Dak Prescott, the Cowboys are not going to, you know, go anywhere in the right direction that they want to go in until Dak Prescott can take over as that dog. Until he becomes that dog on the team, like it's just, I don't know if anything's going to change. And in a way, maybe he's a little right. I do think that Dak does need to maybe take take charge a little bit more than he usually does. The fact of the matter is the dude's 30. He's about to turn 31 next month at the end of the month. So, I mean, the dude is in his prime and he is a prime veteran on this team. I think that he, without a doubt, has definitely earned his stripes to be able to take charge a little bit more than he does. Because with Dak, it's always he follows orders. He does. He's very disciplined. He does what he always does what he's told. Does what the coach tells him to do. But he needs to start maybe having a little bit of that dog in him a little bit and start taking charge a little bit more than he has previously, and that's what's going to be able to get us over the top. But, I mean, we just got to see how it all works out. But, you know, um, another thing that I wanted to talk about the four UFL players that we brought in for a workout. This was earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken, that we brung in, a few UFL guys, including a couple cornerbacks, one in Garyon Conley, Garyon Conley, and DeAndre Baker. Now, DeAndre Baker was a former first round cornerback for the New York Giants, of course, back in 2019. And from the very first game of his NFL career, when Amari Cooper basically intimidated him, he kind of kind of flinched a little bit, like right before the snap of the ball, and it was over for him after that. And it didn't get very much better. It didn't get that much better after that. So the fact of the matter is he had been cut and out of the league for maybe about a year, maybe. And, he finally, got a chance to, maybe, you know, take his career, put it back on the right track, a little bit, playing with the DC Defenders. Now, I initially thought that he was playing for the St. Louis Battlehawks, but actually, he was playing for the DC Defenders. And he had a very impressive season that, took the attention of some, NFL teams and, scouts that wanted to bring him in, including us. Now, to be quite honest with you, I think we're pretty, we're pretty good at corner if you ask me. But, I mean, you want to load the clip, that's fine. We know that secondary is probably the biggest strength of our team is the secondary. And it's just the fact that we have so many talented guys, talented, really good DBs in that secondary room. So not sure exactly how he would be able to fit into this roster, especially with guys that, have the higher upside, like, Kalen Carson, and, of course, you got veterans like Jordan Lewis. Trayvon Diggs is not a veteran yet. Not by a long shot. He's still very young, but he's also our best cornerback. So, I mean, you can say it how, tell it like it is. But, you know, so we, got, brung him in for a workout. And then we brung in a couple linebackers. So we brung in a couple cornerbacks and a couple linebackers. One in particular, Noah Dawkins for the Michigan Panthers, and then also Willie Harvey for the and then also Willie Harvey for I want to say was the DC Defenders as well, but could be wrong. But yeah, so but those were the 4 UFL players that we brought in for a workout. And, when you look at what we've done over the course of the last couple of years, finding diamonds in the rough, when we sign USFL slash UFL players in the off season and use a bit of bread, a little bit of, bread left that we have in our pockets and just give it to those guys and they turn out to become diamonds in the rough. You look at Cavante Turpin and maybe it doesn't seem like he's truly splashed fully yet, but he has definitely shown various, he has shown various moments of it. And I think he's only going to continue to evolve as long as Mike McCarthy continues to try to evolve him and use him in the offense. And then what he's going to bring, in the kick return aspect, which I already made a video on that. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll leave it in the link in the description box below as well. But either way, and then just last year, right before the season started, if I'm not mistaken, we signed, of course, Brandon Aubrey. We signed Brandon Aubrey, from the USFL. And so we had the USFL MVP in Cavante Turpin. And then we got Brandon Aubrey, who just, no, he didn't, he just, went out there and scored more points than any kicker in the NFL last year. That's all he did. And I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's just a crazy number that he was, putting out there. I mean, this dude didn't miss a kick until the regular season finale. All right. He was hitting on almost 40 straight. Each of his first like 40 or something like that. I mean, this guy was Mr. Perfect for almost an entire season. Very, little kickers, can say that they were perfect on the year. So it's very difficult to be able to do that. So not going to hold anything against him for the missed field goal. But, I mean, the dude stayed perfect for, dang near the entire season. So that was another huge pickup, finding ourselves a kicker. So you got Cavante Turpin in 2022, and then last year it was Brandon Aubrey. We could very well find another diamond in the rough in one of these guys that we brung in for a workout. And so, like that's really what it's all about. When you get to this stage of the off season, right before training camps, but right before training camp, and after June 1st, when we cut guys and we get like money, like we did with Michael Gallup, like we did with Ezekiel Elliott the year before. Um, you're able to use that money to bring in some guys who could potentially be diamonds in the rough. So, that's just, kind of the way we roll. It's nothing too flashy. It's not the big name guys. And, like the fact of the matter is the Cowboys, we're just, the Joneses are too cheap, of course, to really like do any, big splashes like that. They don't want to throw money around. But like even when we have money, they for some reason don't want to seem to throw money around. But like I mean, oh my God, the fact that we couldn't get. You mean to tell me that we couldn't get Zach Moss for 3.5 million or 4 million? We couldn't give him that? Like, I mean, so many other running backs that were on the market in free agency that weren't even the higher ups, like the Josh Jacobs, like the Saquon Barkleys and Aaron Joneses. Like not even the hot, like the higher up guys, they were just the ones that were like in the middle, middle of the pack, solid, but could be, very capable and dependable and couldn't even bring those guys in. I mean, it was getting pretty frustrating, but, we signed Ezekiel Elliott, and the fact of the matter is he does bring back a thump to our running back room, so that's important. But and he brings that physicality and ability when you have the lead and you can run your 4-minute offense. That's also something that he brings to the table. So, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, like the Cowboys, like to close, because at this point I'm just kind of, yapping. I ain't gonna lie. To close, we got, Jerry and Steven starting on Dak Prescott's contract now. Even though I prefer to get CeeDee Lamb's contract started. He's the one who wants his money badly. But, it is what it is. And then we brung in 4 UFL players for workouts earlier this week. So, and history has shown over the course of the last 2 years that, We know how to find diamonds in the rough. In that USFL, UFL league, you're able to find some guys there. And some guys that you didn't even, they never even really jumped out. They never really jumped out the screen for you initially. But then you look at them and it's like, hold on, wait a minute now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's, pretty much, it. Let me know how y'all feel about it, as far as some of the UFL players that we brought in. Dak Prescott's contract being started as we speak. I guess that Trevor Lawrence contract extension really spooked them and, got them, trying to go grab a pencil and paper. I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. But to all my audience and to all of Cowboys Nation, that is it. This is Late Night Talk, episode 4, and we are out.